Yeah, that title's not a lie. I kind of enjoyed this movie. So I've seen a lot of reviews for this movie, all of them being negative. I haven't seen a single positive review of this movie. But what I'm surprised that no one is mentioning in their reviews is that this is a very similar reaction that audiences had to The Last Jedi. They're very similar events, in my opinion, the release of these two films. Also, my reaction to all these films are similar in that the first one was decent. It wasn't anything amazing. You could say people were overhyping it. In my opinion, these movies at the time of their releases were overhyped. And then you get the sequel, which takes everything that was set up in the first movie that people wanted to see expanded into something a little fresher. They took that and just destroyed all of it. Which, if you weren't a big fan of the first movies, that's not that big of a deal to you, at least to me. Okay, so I guess I'll start from Joker 1, which, like I said, I thought it was decent. The technical aspects were pretty great. It's really well shot, especially like the color grading and just the look of each shot is quite visually appealing, despite how dirty and grimy the movie is. But really, the biggest flaw with the movie and the thing that keeps it from being anything above good, in my opinion, is that it's just an unsubtle version of a Martin Scorsese film. It took the story of the King of Comedy and the tone of Taxi Driver and put Batman shit in there, and then you get the Joker. And the movie wasn't bad, it was pretty good, but just on those things alone, it's either you're gonna love that or not love that. And it just wasn't for me. I think the movie's overhyped and people are still calling it a masterpiece. In my opinion, it is not that. So you got this second movie. People loved the first movie. They want to see the Joker story continued, and they don't really get that. So starting in chronological order of the movie, you get the first scene, which is meant to be animated like a Looney Tunes skit. It even has the music and intro to go along with it. So it's like directly paying homage to that. I wish the animation actually looked like it came from that period and was like a Chuck Jones production. But I think it was still a strong way to open the film, and I liked the story of it and the visual of what it represented, what the Joker's shadow represented, and how the shadow is what people view the Joker as. And Arthur Fleck is not his shadow. He's not the Joker. That's not what people like. Then we get an introduction to Arthur Fleck's life as he's living in Arkham Asylum. There's a lot of atmosphere in the asylum, and I enjoyed being there. And really, this movie doesn't have much of a story. It's more focused on exploring aspects of the first movie, of things that already happened, which I was fine with because I kind of like existing in the exploration of the philosophy of the first movie because I didn't really get much out of the first movie, but this movie plays with hypotheticals and maybe even reads things about the original movie that weren't really intended or weren't there, but it's still more interesting than anything that happens in the first movie, honestly. So the musical aspects of this movie are what is really dividing people, not even dividing people, people just outright hate it, which I kind of agree. I'd say 80% of it didn't work for me, but at least it was something different and it didn't totally ruin the movie for me. Would I have enjoyed it if that wasn't there? Yeah, but it also gives this movie a unique tone that I don't think I can think of another movie quite like this one. A lot of this movie is a courtroom drama, which I think was pretty engaging until the Joker started to represent himself. He fires his lawyer and decides to represent himself. And after that point, it's kind of boring because he doesn't really try to do anything. He's just terrible at presenting his case, and it's so clear that there's no chance of him being able to get out of this one. Except he kind of does because a bomb goes off and he escapes, only to get caught pretty quickly after. Anyways, let's rewind a little bit. Joker, Harley Quinn, Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn, she was an alright character. I like that she was the one manipulating him the whole movie and not the other way around. I wasn't quite expecting that. And in the courtroom where Arthur Fleck says there is no Joker, it's just him, really confessing that his whole case is just a lie. He's the one who killed those people. And Harley just storms off and like doesn't give a fuck about Arthur. She just wants to fuck the Joker. She has a thing for the Joker, conveying that no one really cares about Arthur Fleck and his mental issues. It's just the image of the Joker that people like. So he goes back to prison and then a guy stabs him and then he dies. And that's pretty much the movie. Will I ever watch this movie again? No, but I was entertained while watching it, and I would watch this again over like any of the recent Marvel movies I've seen, like The Eternals, Thor, Love and Thunder, even Guardians 3. As I mean, I'm not really into Guardians of the Galaxy much, but even Guardians 3, I was more bored watching that than Joker 2, which at least was trying to do something different. So yeah, this is the last Jedi of the Joker franchise, meaning it's on the same quality level as the first movie, but people just don't like the story and where it took its characters. And being not really a fan of either of these franchises, it doesn't really matter to me because at least it's not boring bullshit. I don't know. This movie is fine. I'd give it like a high 5 to a light 6. I don't think it deserves anything more or less than that, honestly. It's aight. All right. Later, Gators.